Yo, welcome back to Niner Wire. I'm your host, Sam, and today we're going to be breaking down the phenomenal win that just took place in Foxborough. Man, as Jimmy Garoppolo said, feels great, baby. I mean, going into Foxborough, that's always a tough challenge. Not only did we win, we blew them out, man. And I know during pregame, by the way, it's just me for postgame. Kobe had work, so it's just going to be me today for postgame. But Kobe and I said at the beginning of the game, the one thing we didn't expect to see was a Niners blow. And guess what we saw? We saw a Niners blowout, man. What a game. I'm so excited that we won that. I mean, yeah, that's really all I got to say. I'm kind of stunned how we won that game. We made adjustments. We did everything, and we're just going to go into it right away, guys. But before I do that, make sure to follow me on Twitter at NinerWireSam. My Instagram's at NinerWire_YT. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you name it, leave them in the live chat below. I already see we got some people in the chat. What up, Dom? Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, man. Anyways, guys, let's just get right into it. So usually I like to start with positions. Let's just go right into looking at the keys of the game. And literally the two keys we had: stop Cam on defense and an efficient run game. We executed those perfectly, and not just perfectly. We executed them to a higher standard. You talk about a perfect performance. That is it right there. That is exactly what we needed to see from that team. Let's talk about the run game. I didn't even mention Jeff Wilson that much, and he balled out. I hope he's okay. I don't know how severe the injury is. Luckily, he got up. It seemed like he wanted to run off the field, which is always good. So that was definitely really good to see from him today. Michael Hasty balled out, as always, man. I've been saying for a while, this kid is legit. He showed it today. It wasn't the Michael Hasty breakout party. It was the Jeff Wilson breakout party. But still, man, he dominated today. And I mean, just seeing him on the field dominating, along with Jeff Wilson, who I did not expect to have such a big performance today, just balling out, man. That was fun to watch, man. And on top of that, Kyle Juszczyk balled out, especially on the blocking in that pancake block, man. Oh, that felt so good to see. That was amazing. I mean, the run game executed everything perfectly today. I can't stress enough how amazing that run game was, man. That was one of the best run performances I've seen from my team, definitely since the NFC Championship game. That's definitely up there with that. The Panthers, I know Rohith, who's been on the channel frequently, make sure to follow him on Twitter at RohithKanan71, said that he said during the game that it's very reminiscent to last week's National Tight End Day game against the Carolina Panthers. We had a running back go for 3 touchdowns out of nowhere and absolutely ball the hell out. We had 4 interceptions. We'll get into that in a little bit. 4 interceptions. I don't remember a time. I don't remember another game where I've seen that many interceptions. I think the most I've seen that I kind of remember is 3 against Jacksonville, against Tampa. I do not remember ever seeing 4 interceptions, man. But a lot of picks, amazing run game. Just everyone balled the hell out today, man. I can't say enough how proud I am of this team. This is exactly what we needed. And not to mention this, I tweeted out this during the game. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I said, you know why Jeff Wilson might have gone off today is because Kyle Shanahan knew that Bill Belichick was preparing for Jerick McKinnon and JaMychal Hasty. That might be why we didn't see much McKinnon today. They were preparing for McKinnon. They were preparing for Hasty. And he brings in Jeff Wilson, who balls the hell out, and New England has no answers for them. If that's the case, and I think there's a very legitimate chance that there is, that is unbelievable. That is so smart by Kyle Shanahan. He's making the adjustments. We'll get to Robert Saleh in a sec. I'm going to praise him today, spoiler alert. But yeah, man, it's just I'm so happy to see this team adjusting to the play calling. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put my light on my computer, get the lighting a bit better. All right, perfect. That looks great. But anyways, guys, just oh my God, just adjusting to the play calls, everything was executed perfectly, man. It was just so good to see the offense do their job. And yes, Jimmy Garoppolo, 2 interceptions. One of those I think was fine because I was he had to throw the Hail Mary up there. Other one, probably a bit unacceptable, but I mean, if you can win, I mean, a win is a win is a win, man. And everyone did their job today. That's really all we need to say. And we're going to get to the offense in a little bit. But let's just stop right there with the offense. Move on to the defensive key of the game, stopping Cam Newton. Boy, did we do that perfectly, man. At the beginning of the year, I was saying that Cam Newton is not going to do well for this New England Patriots team. He proved me wrong throughout the beginning of the season. This was the Cam Newton I expected to see. This was the Cam Newton that, I hope to see today. And we balled the fuck out when trying to guard him, man. Whoa! I'm just so hyped after that. And just like the fact that we played a mobile quarterback and we balled out against a mobile quarterback. That is what you call taking a step forward. And that's what you call adjusting when you need to adjust. That's where Robert Saleh came in here today and did his job. That's what I want to see out of Robert Saleh. Now, hopefully it continues. That's the big if. Can this continue into the games like Seattle and Buffalo where you got mobile quarterbacks there, the other Arizona games? So it'll be very interesting to see how this continues. But Robert Saleh made the adjustments he needed to today. And, we won the game because of that. The fact that they put in Jared Stidham, are you kidding me? That shows that we just absolutely locked down Cam Newton, hammer on the nail. Just stopped him right there. Man, what a game from this defense. I'm just so excited for this defense. It's just crazy how we stopped Cam Newton. Like, Fred Warner got a pick against Cam Newton, was everywhere again. He's all around the field, as we said in pregame. Fred Warner is all around the field. Dre Greenlaw balled out, got a sack today. The sacks came in big today. Kevin Givens at the end, that was fun to see. DJ Jones didn't get a sack, but he dominated, man. I love seeing DJ Jones dominate. He's got to be one of my favorite players on this team. As we said, who were we just saying? We were talking about Greenlaw getting a sack, Kevin Givens getting a sack. Deion Jordan almost got a sack. Kinlaw balled out. This entire front seven balled out, and that's exactly what we needed to see today, especially the fact we've been struggling in the front seven often. And the fact that we can come out here today, ball out against a mobile quarterback is just, it shows that this team is ready to go. Also, speaking of the team, speaking of winning, this is the jersey you will see me wear from now on during game day. We've only lost, ever since I've got this jersey, we've only lost 2 games. That is the Ravens game and the Chiefs game, which is a Super Bowl, but only 2 games. I don't know how many wins we have, but we have the Willis jersey, we have the Debo jersey. Debo jersey, we are 0-2 in. The Quan Alexander / Reuben Foster black jersey, I will never, ever wear again on game day. That is the most unlucky jersey of all time. And the Willis jersey, I wore it I wore the Willis jersey week 2. That's where everyone got hurt. Week 5, I wore it. Week 4, I wore it. So, I think I got to rock this on game day just with superstitions, man. I'm a superstitious person, Got to rock this Jimmy G jersey. This is my quarterback right here. If you're not with me, you're against me. That's probably the wrong saying, but yeah, I'm just hyped right now. And yeah, you're going to see me wearing this jersey every game day from now on, unless something catastrophic happens. Then I might change it, but hey, I'll bring back the other jerseys for other streams where we're not playing the games. So yeah, man. But anyways, just what a game from this defense. And I haven't even got to the secondary. We're going to get to that a bit later. Let's just do the position by position breakdown, as we say, after I have this sip of water. All right, let's start off with the quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo balling out as usual. Let me pull up the stats too. Because the total yards on this team was just ridiculous. And obviously you gotta give your quarterback credit for that. So when I search up 49ers Patriots box score, the first thing that comes out, winners and losers from the Patriots' horrific loss to the 49ers week 7. That's how bad this New England Patriots lost for them. That definitely says something. When you can go into Foxborough and blow out the Patriots like that, that's ridiculous. My dad and grandpa, who are both Patriots fans, said this is the worst game they've seen from this team in 20 years. They said that this is worse than the Kansas City game, the Monday Night Massacre. They said this was worse. That goes to show something. They said this is worse than the Baltimore game in the 2009 wild card. That definitely goes to show something. But all right, anyways, the stats have been brought up. Jimmy Garoppolo, 20 for 25, 2 picks. One of those should not have been a pick. 277 yards. His average yard throw was 11.1. That goes to show, guys, that just tells you right there, Jimmy is not just a check down guy. Jimmy can do it all, man. I mean, he's no Patrick Mahomes. He's not, would I say he's a top 10 quarterback? Probably not at this point because of other quarterbacks doing well. But still, man, this guy's getting the job done. I don't think people said, we were talking about a quarterback controversy earlier in the year. There is none. The only way that we take another quarterback in this draft or sign one in free agency is if Jimmy Garoppolo completely falls flat, man. As Joel just said right there, porn star motherfucking Jimmy. There you go, man. The dude's balling out right now. That's exactly what we need to see, especially in games like this against a team who could make the playoffs still. Yes, they're 2-4, but they could still very well make the playoffs, especially if Cam Newton can step it up a bit more. This team is definitely capable of making the playoffs. Also, just while we're on the topic of Cam Newton and stopping Cam Newton, Jarrett Stidham, in so much less time, Jarrett Stidham had 64 yards in like less than a quarter. Cam Newton had 98 in 3 quarters. That goes to show something. And let's be real. The Jarrett Stidham, all those passes were just checkdowns trying to run out the clock, just get this game over with, end the pain for the Patriots. So, I mean, yeah, that just goes to show how much we stopped Cam Newton. 3 picks on the day. It's ridiculous. 39.7 rating. That is what you call an awful performance from Cam Newton. Jimmy Garoppolo, on the other hand, 79.5. The 2 interceptions definitely hurt that. But, I mean, one of those interceptions, as we said, I mean, it is what it is. He kind of had no other choice. You had to go for it on there. So, it is what it is. But anyways, Jimmy Garoppolo balling out as usual. And, yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to say. Jimmy Garoppolo is the franchise quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. Running backs, I already talked so much about them, but we get to talk about them again because what an unbelievable performance from this running game. I'm hoping Jeff Wilson's okay. I want to see have injuries came out yet or anything. Let me turn on Matt Mayoko notifications really quickly. I always turn off notifications during games. Richie James had an ankle injury. It did not return as well. I'm not too concerned about that because, he hasn't really done much today. The one question I do have that I'm very interested to see is why was Mitch Wishnowsky not doing kickoffs? We'll talk about special teams because I do have some stuff to say about them, but that is very interesting because it's always been Mitch Wishnowsky, not Robbie Gould. So yeah, man. There's nothing about injuries right now. I just turned on notifications, but let's just get back to the running backs, man. Jeff Wilson, 17 carries, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is what you call a career game right there. I'm so excited to see how many fantasy points he put up, man. It just goes to show that Shanahan can work with any running back, as I've been saying all along. He can do whatever he wants with his running game. It's ridiculous, man. That's why you call Shanahan an offensive guru. That's why this offense is so good sometimes. Depends on how Jimmy Garoppolo is doing. But today, balled the hell out. Michael Hasty, 9 carries, 57 yards. He had a pretty decent game. 6.3 average. Wilson's average was 6.6. 20 yards was his max carry for Michael Hasty, man. I've been so excited to see this guy. And, with Mostert out, Wilson could be out next week depending on how severe the injury is. Coleman may be off IR. I don't know. But if he is off IR, I'm looking forward to see Michael Hasty take that role, be that number 1 back in the SF. I'm really hoping that happens next week because I think it's best. It kind of went to show today that is McKinnon really a number 1 back? I feel like he's more of a pass-catching guy. You look at McKinnon's stats today. He had no receptions, actually, but still, in the past, he's been pass-catching guy. Jerick McKinnon had 3 carries for -1 yards. We didn't use him as much, and I think that's because, as I said earlier, the Patriots probably prepared for Jerick McKinnon and JaMychal Hasty, and we used Jeff Wilson, which worked perfectly. We out-Patrioted the Patriots. That's how good this game was today. So, yeah, man. Kyle Juszczyk, 40 carries, 18 yards, rushing touchdown, pancake block. Love to see that, man. yeah, it was just fun. Always fun to see those blocks from Juszczyk coming in. I mean, we said today's National Tight End Day. There's a quote from Kittle when he created the National Tight End Day, week 2 against the Lions, brought up, like, said National Tight End Day every day or every play. I think he was mic'd up that game. He said Kyle Juszczyk can be an honorary tight end. He was the honorary tight end today, man. It was so fun to just see him balling out. I mean, it just goes to show how important Kyle Juszczyk is to this team, because without him, this team is a whole lot different, man. The run game wouldn't be as successful. The passing game wouldn't be as successful. And we would not be that good without Kyle Juszczyk. So I do hope we extend him this offseason. So, yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo with that one rush at the first quarter, that was fun to see, man. Just get off of me. That's all he was doing, just getting for that first down. Love to see the grin and the grind of people like Jimmy Garoppolo. Deebo Samuel, 3 carries, 7 yards, mainly jet sweeps, but didn't do much in the run game. It was the passing game where he came in clutch today. And as well as the other receivers, let's just move right into the pass game. Deebo Samuel, I said he came in clutch. It wasn't really him. He had 5 receptions, 65 yards, though. Still balled out. Hopefully that hamstring's okay. We're waiting for word on it. The good thing about that hamstring is he didn't go down after that. He stood up, just held on to that hamstring. Usually when someone goes down, it's severe. He seemed like he was fine, so we'll have to see. Definitely a smart call to take him out of the game, though. It wasn't a close game, but we shall see. No injury updates yet. We'll wait. We'll keep waiting on injury updates. I should be able to give those to you guys if you stay on stream. So stay tuned. We're not even halfway done. We're 60 minutes through. So we still got a lot of time left. So yeah, looking forward to it. Other than that, Brandon Ayuk. This was the Brandon Ayuk coming out party. 6 receptions, 115 yards. That's what we want to see in your rookie wide receiver. Looking at you, Dante Pettis. But yeah, man, Brandon Ayuk. He is looking like the real deal so far, and I am so hyped to see that, man. He's no Justin Jefferson, not yet. T. Higgins, I would say he's probably done a bit better than, but Ayuk's up there as a top 3, top 5 receiver. CeeDee Lamb, maybe Judy, but yeah, Ayuk's definitely up there, and this is looking like a steal. I know a lot of people were complaining, like, why'd you trade up to get Brandon Ayuk? But so far, it has been paying off. On National Tight End Day, George Kittle with 5 receptions, 55 yards. Didn't do much in the pass game. He didn't do much last year in the pass game, too, which is kind of ironic. As Rohit said, National Tight End Day may be something that carries on. So whoever we played week 7, week 8 last year, we're coming for you. That's going to be on Halloween. So whoever we're playing, look out, man. But, yeah, Kittle obviously does a phenomenal job in the blocking game every week. So, yeah, let me take a quick sip of water. Yeah, I mean, this is the grind that goes into it. You're going to have to take sips of water. Take your chill pill. But anyways, the show must go on. Kyle Juszczyk, 1 reception, 18 yards. Hasty is 1 reception, 16 yards. And Jeff Wilson had 2 receptions for 8 yards. But overall, a great performance from the receiving game. Exactly what we need. Surprisingly, no receiving touchdowns. All of our touchdowns today were rushing touchdowns. So Jeff Wilson had 3 touchdowns. Kyle Juszczyk had 1. That was all the scoring that there was today on the touchdown front. And we'll get into special teams, obviously, with Robbie Gold, because I do have a fair amount to say for that. So, yeah. We talked about the receiving game, but tight ends, I mean, George Kittle right there. I mean, as I kind of explained it, I usually go wide receivers and tight ends, but we kind of combined it today. But happy National Tight End Day, everyone. The guy who starts it gets the win. Great celebration for him. On the other hand, you know what? It's National Tight End. Let's talk about both tight ends, because on both teams. So, I mean, Ryan Izzo and Dalton Keene, 1 reception, 8 yards. Deja vu for both of those guys. Obviously, Dalton Keene was a rookie last year, but they're getting the same results. So, feel bad for the Patriots tight ends. I mean, Patriots haven't had a good tight end since Gronk. Obviously, it's been only 1.5 years, but, I mean, it's Gronk. So, what do you expect? It's hard to replace that man right there. So, yeah. Offensive line, man. This offensive line is starting to come together. And the one guy I want to give a huge shout out to is Hronis Grasso. I mean, I heard terrible things about this guy going into training camp. When he started week 1, I was so concerned about Hronis Grasso going into that position, starting. I thought he was going to be eaten alive. I haven't even noticed him on the field. And that is always what you want from your offensive lineman, just not being noticeable. Nobody's giving up pressure on this team. We only had 1 sack today, and that was to Lawrence Guy, their best defensive tackle. Or the best defensive lineman, I should say. And, I mean, Trent Williams, balling out now. Daniel Brunskill, balling out, man. Daniel Brunskill, 2 games in a row, stepping up. That's what we love to see for this team. I mean, usually, as I say this, when I do draft research early, it's always bad. I was like looking at Alex Leatherwood was the guy I was really looking at right there to replace Daniel Brunskill. Do we really need that now? I mean, he has been balling out, and I don't want to be like a one-side fan, like be like, oh, Daniel Brunskill's a baller. Now he sucks. But I mean, we saw what Daniel Brunskill could do last year. We're seeing it again, man. Daniel Brunskill is looking legit, man. So that is always good to see. McGlinchey, I mean, it's hard to talk about the offensive line when you don't notice them. It's that simple. So McGlinchey, Tomlinson, they must have had great games if I'm not noticing them. So balling out this offensive line is, as Yoda would say. But Hronis Grasso, shout out to you, man. You've been balling out. I've obviously been very concerned about the center position with Richburg going to be out for a while. Ben Garland could be out for the while. We might look at Alex Mack trade talks. But, I mean, Hronis Grasso has proved me wrong for the past 2 weeks. Or not the past 2 weeks, but week 1 proved me wrong. Week 7 proved me wrong, man. So I think sticking with Hronis Grasso is definitely the best option at this point. Okay, we still do not have injury news at this point. Let's see. Oh, we have some notifications. Let's see any injury reports right there. The Wi-Fi went out the stadium. Well, that's great. There's another interception for us. We intercepted the Patriots Wi-Fi, or the Patriots Wi-Fi got intercepted. I don't know if it was us, but so injuries, that might be a bit delayed at this point. So let's just wait on that. I think I had like a cousin who ran the Patriots Wi-Fi for a bit, which is kind of crazy. So, I mean, hopefully he might be. I mean, he doesn't work there anymore, but still, I have a lot of family roots in New England, so that's why this is such a big win for me. Just getting the advantage over literally all of my relatives, man. That feels so good. Just like I get to trash talk them for the next 4 years, man. That always feels so good. Just when you have 4 years of leverage. And 2024, it will be back in San Francisco at Levi's Stadium. Don't know if I'm going to be able to go to that game. I might be away, but yeah, I might be somewhere else, but we shall see. All right, we just talked about the offensive line. Let's move on to the defense, man. I mean, I am just so excited to talk about this defense. Let's look at the stats for this defense. Oh, let's look at the Patriots defense stats first, because they did not do much. So we had 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss, or they had 1 sack, 4 tackles to loss, and 2 passes deflected, 2 quarterback hits. Our defense had 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 6 passes defended. That's what you want. I always say passes deflected. It's passes defended. I need to get that out of my head. But 6 passes defended, man. That's always phenomenal to see from your defense. And then quarterback hits, you had 2. And then interceptions, we had 4 interceptions. So, yeah, man. I mean, the thing is, the stats aren't noticeable for defense. I mean, the 4 interceptions obviously is notable, but the stats aren't notable. Stats don't lie. They don't always tell the truth. That's how this game is going for the defense, because this defense balled the fuck out today, man. That was so fun to see. And let's start with the defensive line. DJ Jones balled out, man. It didn't get a sack, got a lot of quarterback pressures, but balled out, man. That's the DJ Jones I love to see, man. DJ Jones, big DJ, love to see that guy absolutely ball out. He is a grown-ass man. He is a monster on the field. I just love seeing that guy ball out. It's always so fun to see that. So, yeah, man. And then Eric Armstead, I definitely noticed him a lot more today. Yes, he needs to step it up a bit, but I'm noticing him a bit more. So that's always good to see. Kerry Hyder, one of my key players of the game, didn't really see much of him today, but it didn't matter. I think the interior line was what really stood out to me, and that's what we needed for this team, especially going up against a Patriots team where their interior line is better than their tackles, in my opinion. You had DJ Jones, ball out. Eric Armstead, ball out. Kevin Givens got a sack. So the 2 sacks today were Dre Greenlaw and Kevin Givens, I believe. Those were the 2 sacks, Dre Greenlaw, Kevin Givens. So our only sack was there. But, yeah, man, I mean, it looked hella good, this defensive line. Deion Jordan applied some pressure too, man. All these low-profile guys are starting to ball out for us, and I think this is where I give credit to Robert Saleh. He adjusted today. Let's say that right now. Robert Saleh made the necessary adjustments to succeed. It's Bill Belichick. It's Josh McDaniels. These are two guys who are gurus on offense. And the Niners handled it perfectly with no Nick Bosa, no D Ford, no Quan Alexander, no Tart, no Ward. That was just fantastic to see. So, I mean, this team's making adjustments. This line is looking good. So, yeah, I mean, that's really all I can say. Let's move on to the linebacking core. We got the pick from Warner. Best linebacker in football, for sure. I mean, if you don't think he's the best linebacker, you have to say he's top 3. I mean, there's no question about it at this point. He is a top 3 linebacker in football. And, I mean, yeah, he's just been balling out. I don't really need to say much about him. Azeez Al-Shaair didn't do much today, but, hey, man, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if a guy doesn't ball out, it doesn't matter. It's something maybe look at concern for next week, but they'll focus on it. They'll work on it. A win is a win is a win. Everyone's going to want to build off of that. Azeez Al-Shaair is no exception to that. He's going to want to build off of that win, improve his game, because Quan Alexander could be out next week with that high ankle sprain. We shall see. And then Dre Greenlaw with the sack. This goes back to Saleh. He ran a blitz today, got a sack. Got a sack, worked perfectly. So, I mean, Dre Greenlaw gets the sack. There you go. I think that goes a lot on Robert Saleh's credit. So, Robert Saleh, way to step it up. And this front seven dominated the Patriots D and Cam Newton. As Dom said right here, I forgot Cam Newton was even playing. I mean, he didn't do anything today. And that you definitely have to credit the front seven. Obviously, the secondary too, but front seven, man, balling out. That's what I love to see, man. Just this team is, I'm not saying this team is back, but this team's looking pretty damn good if you ask me. Obviously got a rough schedule ahead, but these last 2 games, this win today is just crucial. So, yes, as I said before, we're definitely going to have to see if Robert Saleh can carry this momentum on into the next games, into the very hard part of our schedule. We shall see. And then the secondary. Let's start with the cornerbacks. Emmanuel Moseley got a pick. I mean, yeah, that was a give-me pick, but still locking down his guys. We did not see that many pass attempts from this Patriots offense. Let's look. If we look at the receiving, they only had 15 receptions out of a total 22 targets. They did not pass the ball much at all. Only 162 yards passing. I mean, no passing touchdowns, no touchdowns at all this game, mind you that. This team, the cornerbacks locked them down. Moseley is no exception, locking down whoever he was guarding, getting the picks, man. Oh, that felt great to see Moseley just balling out. And I mean, there's obviously been that cornerback controversy here. Can Emmanuel Moseley be a cornerback too? Yes, he absolutely can. If he hasn't proven that yet, then you are obviously not watching 49ers football. But Richard Sherman should be back soon. Emmanuel Moseley looking good, man. Or Sherman's going to be back week 11, I think, or something like that. It's got worse. But still, man, Moseley and then Verrett, too, balling out right now. This is what we need to see in a team like this. Verrett got hurt, came back in, didn't do much today because they weren't targeting him much. When they did target him, they did get the receptions off him. But, hey, man, it's all good. Let's talk about Jamar Taylor, though. That could be one of the players of the game because I said Jamar Taylor definitely got to look out for because he could be guarding Edelman. Let's look at Julian Edelman's stats really quickly. Julian Edelman, 1 reception, 13 yards. 1 reception for 13 yards. Are you kidding me? Jamar Taylor definitely has a major credit to that. Same with Fred Warner, but Jamar Taylor balled out today. I didn't even get to the 2 picks for Jamar Taylor, man. This dude has been balling out for us in the past 2 games. And I know people are like, get him off the field. He's terrible. Guys, this dude is balling out for us. You keep him on the field when he's balling out for us. Yes, in the past, he hasn't proven us much, but now he's really starting to get used to the system. He was used to it before, and he's starting to ball out with K'Wan Williams out. So it's looking good for Jamar Taylor right now. Let's move on to the safeties. Marcel Harris didn't see much from him. I mean, yeah, he didn't really need to make an impact. There wasn't really much for him to do out there because we were just balling out. But let's talk about Tarvarius Moore. I think it would definitely be worth it to trade Jimmy Ward, and because of Tarvarius Moore. This is a guy who was supposed to start in 2019. He was playing cornerback that season. I think he was a safety coming out of Southern Miss, was a cornerback when he got drafted. We wanted to use him as a cornerback. Then we wanted to move him to free safety and replace Jimmy Ward. Obviously, he needed a bit more time, and when he needed that time, Jimmy Ward stepped up and did it in a big way. Tarvarius Moore comes in today, balls out, and I mean, yes, it's one game, but this team, and you, by the way, usually I don't say this like it's time to trade Jimmy Ward because one guy had one good game. This guy's got a pick in the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, we trust him in the Super Bowl. This team, I mean, and then he balled out today. This team trusts Tarvarius Moore to do the job and get the job done right. So I think you can cut cap if you trade Jimmy Ward. You can get Tarvarius Moore as your starting free safety, and everything will work out perfectly. So I'm glad to see that. Okay, how is the Wi-Fi doing at Levi Stadium? It's okay. So looks like everything good. Everything's good now. Okay, injuries. Let's look at injuries. Okay, so the plan was to rest McKinnon all along because of the large workload this season. So they didn't want to do much with him. Completely understandable. This is the biggest loss in Foxborough since Bill Belichick was the head coach by that margin. That goes to show something about this team. That's just like you planted the flag on that field. That's what you call balling out, man. It's always fun to see that. It's looking like it's a high ankle sprain for Jeff Wilson. Yes, he balled out today. I'm not too concerned about it. We'll have Mostert back in 2 weeks probably. I don't think that high ankle sprain is that bad. We'll have to see. Coleman should be back fairly soon. Michael Hasty can carry the workload as well. And Jerick McKinnon just got a big week of rest today, man. So he'll be able to step up. But sucks that Wilson, just a career game, had to end such an unfortunate way for him. But it is what it is. I think I'm not holding my breath about Jeff Wilson's injury. It's all good. What else tweets? What other tweets? So Debo pulled his hamstring on that run. Hopefully he won't miss enough time, much time. So it's not that bad. What else? He's holding his wideouts to the highest standard after that win. So it seems like Shanahan was a bit upset at Brent Ayuk for that the Hail Mary pass at the beginning of the day. So I mean, not the beginning of that, at the end of the half, I should say. But yeah, so I mean, that goes to show right there. That's the leadership that you need in a locker room. That when the coach is like picking you out for the smallest things, the players, especially a guy like Brent Ayuk, who has that dog mentality in him, guy like Deebo Samuel too, let's not forget him. Obviously, Deebo Samuel wasn't called out, but Brandon Ayuk has that dog mentality. He's going to step up in that big way, get the job done, man. So, yeah, it's definitely looking good for Brandon Ayuk. I definitely have very high hopes for him. Bill Belichick said that Cam Newton is absolutely going to start next week against Buffalo. By the way, next week, let's talk about next week. First of all, I just want to get to, since we're not talking about the Niners, it might be a good time to get to Itachi's comment. Hopefully I pronounced that right, but people sleeping on the Bucs, man. With Antonio Brown playing, they could be contenders. I'm with you, man. And I got to say, it was the defensive side that I was so high up on for the Bucs. They've been balling out, man. And then you look at the offensive side. I said the offense might not be as good. They've been doing pretty well. And I will say that Tom Brady, is he the Tom Brady he was in New England? Absolutely not. Let's put it that way. Tom Brady, I do think only has a few more years left on him. I'm still not the biggest believer of him, but it's Tom Brady. You can never doubt the GOAT. But yeah, man, people are sleeping on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm totally with you. But anyways, man, let's just look at the games next week, and we'll get to our game last. I'm not even going to bring up our game, but let's just pull it up. The games next week are looking really good. You got Falcons, Panthers. That's not the best game. Vikings, Packers. That should be, Vikings aren't really that good. Oh, and then you got the game of the year. Jets, Chiefs, man. Oh, man, that is such a good game. Just love to see that. Anyway, Steelers, Ravens, that should be a great game. Colts and Lions, Titans, Bengals. These are all great games. Rams and Dolphins, who kicked their ass. Patriots, Bills, Raiders, Browns. Those are two teams who could have winning records going into this game. Saints, Bears, Bucks are playing on Monday night against the Giants, so they should win that. And then the granddaddy of them all, the 49ers and the Seahawks. I have some thoughts to say about that at the end. But yeah, I told you I was right about Hasty Bean. I told you guys. I mean, I've been saying it so much throughout this episode, throughout this process, throughout pregame earlier. I told you guys that Michael Hasty was going to make a significant impact on this team. There's an Instagram post on my personal account. I don't know, not on my personal account, but it was on some 49ers account. It was like, give us your bold takes. I replied that Michael Hasty would make a significant impact this year on my personal account. They posted it. I don't know what the account is, but still, man, I've been saying Michael Hasty is gonna ball out for this team, man, and I'm so excited to see him doing that in a big way. He should be coming out soon. I mean, against Seattle with Wilson probably going to be out with that high ankle. It's going to be very interesting to see how they use Michael Hasty. I am looking forward to that a lot, man. But yeah, man, Michael Hasty balling out. And yeah, that's really all I got to say. Where were we in the 49ers right now? We were talking about the safeties, Tarvarius Moore. I think he could definitely replace Jimmy Ward right there doing that. I mean, as I said, the team trusts him. He's balling out. I think you can move on from Jimmy Ward if you had to. Will the team do it? Probably not, because Lynch has a man crush on Jimmy Ward. But if you want to cut cap, that could be a very good option to do so. I know the Raiders were really going after for Jimmy Ward this offseason. So a team like them might be a great fit for Jimmy Ward. Special teams. I do have a few things to say about special teams. And they're kind of concerning things. This is probably my low of the day. First of all, can somebody please answer for me why Robbie Gould was doing kickoffs rather than Mitch Wishnowsky? Because I'll tell you right now, Robbie Gould is so much worse at kickoffs than Mitch Wishnowsky, because Wishnowsky can boot it to the back of the end zone, which you always want, and Robbie Gould couldn't do that. So we'll have to see. I don't know if there's any like updates about that, but I'm trying to see if there's any tweets about that. Yeah, there's no tweets about that. I'm hoping that someone asked like Kyle Shanahan about that, but I think his press conference is over. But I really want to figure that out. If there's a mailbag, I'm definitely going to ask that. Maybe they'll answer it in the maybe they'll answer it. But I definitely want to see, because that was an interesting decision about Mitch Wishnowsky not doing the kickoffs. It definitely confused me. I know we did Robbie Gould for an onside kick against Philadelphia, which was really weird, really weird play. But I mean, now you bring up, now you're doing it from all the kickoffs, and he's significantly worse than Mitch Wishnowsky. Second of all, 2 blocked extra points today, or 2 tipped extra points today. That is a concern. That is a glaring concern that nobody's talking about. 2 tipped extra points. The line's got to step up with that. That's definitely the one concern today. 1 went in, 1 did it, but still, there's no excuse to have 2 tipped extra points. And if it carries on, then you're in some serious trouble. You got to execute perfectly on special teams. And if we're not doing that, then, I mean, special teams is a small part of the game, but it's a crucial part too. So the 2 tipped extra points definitely concern me. So the team's definitely got to step it up in practice this week, learning more, or not learning more necessarily, but just like stepping it up, doing it all with those extra points. But yeah, that's really all I got to say for special teams. That definitely is my concern for the day. Besides the injury concerns, from what it sounds like, Debo should be back against Seattle. Wilson should be out. I haven't heard anything on Richie James. I heard he got hurt at the end of the game. I'm not too concerned about that. Worst case scenario, we'll just have Trent Taylor do kick returns, or just activate someone like Dante Pettis. All right, new guy at the podium, Brandon Ayuk. Glad to see that. But yeah, there's a quote tweet about the Dre Greenlaw sack, man. He came in on that blitz and did a phenomenal job. And that goes to show Robert Saleh making the adjustments that we want to see. There you go. That's exactly what you do if you're a defensive coordinator. You have guys hurt, you make the adjustments. So great game from Robert Saleh. All right, let's talk. We talked about the Niners keys to the game at the very beginning of the episode. The Patriots keys, efficient play action. I saw no play action from the Patriots. That was a very interesting thing. I guess our defense probably caught them off guard or something like that. But yeah, they didn't really run play action. Saleh did make the adjustments. That was one of my notes I put there. But efficient play action for the Patriots, that didn't necessarily happen. And then on defense, I said they had the run game covered. I didn't even mention the run game for their key of the game. I know Kobe did. I didn't. But they didn't. They could not stop the run. They could not stop the receivers. Their defense was terrible. They fell flat on their key of the game, man. I mean, there's definitely been a pattern throughout the year. I don't have all the keys of the game saved because I usually just have one note on the notes app, just like taking my notes, reading them throughout the episode. But there's a trend where whoever wins this game is doing their keys well. Whoever loses is falling flat. So it's definitely a trend. Let's be real with that. It's definitely a trend going on. I've never done a game for pregame where there's been a key to the game that everyone lived up to their key to the games. There's never been a game like that. There's always something that goes wrong. So yeah, that's really all I gotta say about that. But yeah. All right, but anyways, let's go over key players too. Who else we had for key players? So key players today, man. Jerick McKinnon, Michael Hasty. It was Jeff Wilson that stepped it up. I said Wilson wasn't going to do that. Was coming off an injury, might not do well. They rested McKinnon for just to get the workload off him, which is smart considering about the ACL tears and everything. I think that's a smart idea. Hasty balled out. I've been telling you this for the past 5 months, 6 months, something like that. So, yeah, I'm love to see Hasty doing that job. Deebo Samuel, it was Brandon Ayuk who was the guy that really stepped up today. Obviously, it's hard to say for like key to the game. I think it's going to be really hard to say. Is it Deebo Samuel every week? Is it Brandon Ayuk every week? Obviously, I mean, it could really go either way. So fantasy implications right now, if you have Deebo Samuel on your team, might be a good idea to trade him because, first of all, the Niners aren't really a pass-savvy team. Second of all, Brandon Ayuk could be that guy, the number one guy in San Francisco. It might alternate between games, so we will have to see. Excuse me about that. Kerry Hyder on defense was my defensive line key of the game. It was the defensive tackles that stepped up, so that's good to see. And then both safeties stepped it up today. Harrison didn't do much, but Tarvarius Moore, man, stepped it up. And as being said right here, hopefully he'll be back next week. I'm totally with you on that. Cyprian also did pretty well on special teams today, too. He had some good plays on special teams. I didn't mention him there. He could very well step into that role. Shout out to Jonathan Cyprian, though. I know he didn't want to be on this team if he got placed on the practice squad, and he's been doing he stuck through it, and today had a pretty good game. So that's always great to see from a guy like Jonathan Cyprian. But Jaquiski Tartt is definitely our number one strong safety ahead of Marcel Harris, so we'll see if he comes back. On the Patriots side, the guy had Cam Newton, completely fell flat. Julian Edelman, completely fell flat. Linebacker core, completely fell flat. Gilmore, completely fell flat. Every key player I had for the Patriots didn't do their job. Every key player for the Niners did their job, sort of. Kerry Hyder didn't do much, but I'm not too concerned about him. But, yeah, man, I mean, we did our job. They did it. It's that simple. And also, as again, to my key players for both teams I missed, National Tight End Day. Happy National Tight End Day to all the tight ends around the league, high school, college, whoever you are, wherever you're watching. Happy National Tight End Day. I mentioned the tight ends as my key players to the game. So, got to give them a shout out, whether or not they had a good or bad game. But, yeah, man. My prediction was 30-20. Kobe and I both said that it probably won't be a 49ers blowout, and it was a 49ers blowout. So, yeah, man, my confidence level keeps increasing every week. It was at 0 going into week 6. It was a bit higher going to the Rams game. It's definitely here going in to the next game against Seattle, which we'll talk about in a sec. But before we go to the Seattle game, let's talk about fantasy. So I'm assuming that we had a pretty good game for fantasy. I mean, I don't have everyone on my team. Because it's just like it's a certain league. There's a amount of people in the league, obviously. Amount of players you can do you can have on your team. By the way, my main league just got blown out today, man. I've lost 4 straight, man. It's not looking good. And you know why I lost 4 straight? Because I started Cam Newton at quarterback, who had negative 0.18 points. That just goes to show how much this defense locked down. And by the way, every other player besides Cam Newton in my defense had 10 points today. That just goes to show how terrible Cam Newton was, man. And I'm going to get blown out by at least 30 points. Probably more because he has Kyler Murray still. He had Devontae. So, yeah. Okay, but to the Niners team. Let's look at this. So, if I go to all the players, wow, I am winning my game because the guy has Saquon and Chubb. So obviously this is a very, very, very inactive league. He has Matt Gay as his kicker. That just goes to show everything. Some players that are free agents: Jamal Williams, free agent; Giovanni Bernard, Antonio Gibson, free agent. I mean, I would win this league. Justin Jackson, free agent. I would easily win this league if I tried hard in it. But I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous. There's some guys on this league. Okay, now this page isn't loading at all. Yeah, Will Fuller is a free agent. That just goes to show Noah Fant, free agent. But let's look at the 49ers players today. And, oh, hang on. Give me 1 second. I'm just pulling everything up for 49ers players, all players today. So Jimmy Garoppolo, let's just go by score. Jeff Wilson with 32 points, man. Everyone was telling you, start McKinnon, maybe pick up Hasty. No, it was Jeff Wilson that did the job today. Glad to see that from him. Brandon Ayuk, 17.5 points. That's always fun to see from a receiver like that. A rookie wide receiver, mind you, that balling out like that. So that's always really fun to see. 49ers D was 16 points. That's how you get the job done. That's what 4 interceptions and 2 sacks gets you. So, yeah, good to see that. Deebo Samuel with 12.2 points. Kyle Juszczyk, 10.6 for a fullback. That's always fun to see. Obviously, had that touchdown. Kittle, 10.5. Robbie Gould, 10 points. The scoring's a bit different in this league because kickers are definitely more valuable. So we'll have to see about that. Next year, I'll probably just get my league, just use my league, just search up all the 49ers players. I think they added a feature where you can just find a player's pro team. So, yeah. Michael Hasty with 8.3 points. Jimmy Garoppolo, only 7.48 points. Wow. So, because all his touchdowns were rushing, he had 2 picks. But, yeah, man, it's all good. And that is all she said for scoring. So, yeah, I mean, good week for fantasy. I technically won my game, which, hey, man, a win is a win is a win, as I always say. So, yeah. All right. Next week, man. I am looking forward to that. Against Seattle, in Seattle, you know how much I want to win this game. I know every one of you watching wants to win this game so badly, man. So this is our biggest game of the season so far, the Seattle game. Hands down. If we can get a win in Seattle, that would be ridiculous. And by the way, they could be the only undefeated team in the NFL. Sorry, the second undefeated, the one of 2 undefeated teams in the NFL because Pittsburgh won today. They could be one of 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. And if we beat them, that's just sweet revenge from last year when they beat us at home. Just going in there, beating them at home. Just give that to me. Oh, just give all of that to me, man. I just want to beat Seattle so badly. So that should be a very good game. If I do a post game for that, or sorry, a pregame. If I do a post game for that and we win, that is going to be the most emphatic post game ever. I'm telling you guys right now, we're going to be screaming, we're going to be shouting, we're going to be celebrating. I might even just crack open a cold one. Just do that. I can't legally drink, but just like pop it open, just celebrate, just like that. Whatever it is, man, we'll have to see it. But guys, I'm looking forward to the Seattle game. I hope you guys are too. But what a win today. We're 4-3. Back on track. I mean, yes, we're 4-3, which is not the ideal start, but we're back on track. We're back on track. We're above 500, and we could be going. I mean, we're still going to be last in this division, which is kind of, unless the Rams lose. I'm sorry. But still, man, we're getting back on track. That's all that really needs to be said at this point. Hopefully, we can carry it on because now we enter the death of our schedule with Seattle, Green Bay, New Orleans. Then we got our bye, and then we got the Rams and Bills. These 5 games are the hands down the toughest 5 games of our season. After that, we have Washington and Dallas, so a bit of a break there, but still, these next 5 games are going to be huge for this team. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say today, guys. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. You guys have better enjoyed the game. I mean, if you guys didn't enjoy the game, then something's dead wrong with you, but anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys.